From the Allen Media Worldwide Headquarters Studios high atop Two Turtle Creek Tower, this is Deconstructing Dallas. Greetings, everyone. I am your host, Ryan Trimble, joined today by my outstanding, wonderful, tremendous co-host, Sean Williams.
3 adjectives.
Yes.
Man, this is a 3-adjective day.
Well, look at this beautiful spring day. I think this is the first sunny day we've recorded a podcast in months.
A sunny day early in spring gets you 3 adjectives. I'll take every single one of them. What's going on?
Absolutely. No, just really excited about today's show, Sean. We've got a great guest coming on, Doug Newby, DallasArchitectureBlog.com author and Dallas neighborhood guru.
Yeah, neighborhood expert. And I think based on our work histories in Dallas, the political and public service that you've done, me working also in public service, having a blog focused on Southern Dallas, a lot of the work that we've both done has really centered around neighborhoods and Dallas neighborhoods. And that's kind of a big part of the discussion that we're having today.
Yes, no doubt. And is part of the reason I love Dallas is all the different neighborhoods. One of my favorite stories, and I know I've told you this about 1,000 times, but when I worked for Chairman Branch after the 2006 election, we wanted to really focus on East Dallas, and he said, go to East Dallas, go across 75, and don't come back until you know everybody. And so I spent my time in Munger Place and Swiss Avenue and Peaks Edition and the Lower Greenville, Pat Carr, if you're listening, at Lower Greenville Neighborhood Association. Just some wonderful folks in all of our different neighborhoods around town. And, it's part of what makes this city really fun and a fun place to be.
Yep, and I landed in about 2005 in Southwest Dallas, very close to, sometimes I'll tell some people near the Potter's House, and for other people, I will say near Dallas Baptist University, because some people know one, some people know the other. But we lived out that way, and then about 3 years ago, I moved to North Oak Cliff, and so I've seen a lot of Southern Dallas. So I think between us, we've kind of got a lot of Dallas covered. You kind of more northeast, me more southwest.
Well, really excited about this episode, but before we go on, Sean, I wanted to say congratulations to you and your Fighting Texas Aggies.
Well, I was hoping that we would get to that, especially having been in College Station on yesterday at Texas A&M. I can tell you there's a lot of excitement about the Aggies' Sweet 16 appearances, because we have our men's and women's basketball teams in the Sweet 16, and it is really exciting games. Although, in theory, the North Carolina A&M men's game was not that exciting because the Aggies were about 20 most of the game. Yeah,
they were blowing them out, and I'm going to tell you what, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it one bit.
And I will also begrudgingly, in a way, give kudos to our friends and former conference mates at Texas Tech, who are also making a Sweet 16 appearance in the men's tournament. They've looked good for the majority of the season and looked good in their first 2 games. So, hey, I'd be totally down to meet up with the Red Raiders in the Final Four.
I'm sure you would. Sean.
Well, I wanted to think about Trinity Groves, because that is part of our conversation that we're going to have with Doug Newby. Trinity Groves, a client of ours, and one of my first memories of Dallas when I moved here in 1997. I remember specifically going to a meeting at City Hall where there was a discussion about the Trinity River Corridor Project. And I remember there being a huge model with basketball arena and parks and boats and all kinds of stuff. And I was thinking, man, I want to be close to this. Like at the time I was living in one of the suburbs. I think I was living in Irving at the time. And I thought, I want to move close to this. I want to be part of where this is happening. 20 years later, it's still happening. But I think what we're seeing in West Dallas, some of the proposals for the park and what is springing up and has sprung up in Trinity Groves, we're really seeing some of the fruition of what the vision was for the Trinity River.
Yeah, and if you haven't been down to Trinity Groves, I encourage everybody to go down there. It's a really fun place, great place to eat, some great restaurants down there, a lot of action. I think a lot of people are surprised the first time they go down there to see just how much action there is down there.
Yeah, like in my mind, a lot of times I want to say, do people really know that we have Trinity Groves? Do people really know that it's there? And obviously, if you try to park or if you try to get in somewhere to eat at St. Rocco's or anywhere else down there, you know that people do know where it is.
Sure.
And people do know how to get there. And the bridge is packed, especially on a day like today, especially on the weekend. You know, people are out, people are down in the trails that are now inside the levees, which is really cool. I mean, I've ridden my bike from my place. You know, it's about 1.5 miles, 2 miles to the Ron Kirk Bridge at the and down into the levees. Do 4 or 5 miles down there, ride up and out on the east side, and maybe take the Trinity Strand Trail and maybe head over to Katy Trail. I mean, it is so many options and so close. I mean, it is incredible how close we are in West Dallas, how close you are when you're Trinity Groves to downtown, or to not only downtown, but to the Design District, to Uptown, all those places.
Well, while you're doing all that cycling, Sean, I'll be enjoying a delicious adult beverage on one of the great patios at Trinity Groves. How about that?
Awesome patios. I think I was at Offsite Kitchen about 2 weeks ago, throwing down a burger over a game of Galaga. I mean, who if you got Galaga and Miss Pac-Man in your location, then it is a way better than zero chance that I will try to end up there.
Well, exciting stuff, and excited to bring our guest on today again, Doug Newby, one of the neighborhood gurus of Dallas and author of DallasArchitectureBlog.com. So why don't we take a quick break? We'll be back with Doug, and look forward to seeing you on the other side. This is Deconstructing Dallas. Ryan Trimble, Sean Williams. Thanks for listening. Hey everybody, it's Ryan, your illustrious co-host here at Deconstructing Dallas. I've got great news for you. Walmart, our great friends at Walmart, they have brought back the promo code WOWFRESH. That's WOWFRESH, WOWFRESH. That is for $10 off your first order of online grocery pickup. Now, if you haven't tried this service, you got to get in there and try it. Download the Walmart grocery app, find your local store on the app, and then get shopping. Now, again, the code is WOWFRESH, WOWFRESH. That's a WOWFRESH for $10 off your first order of online grocery pickup. You place your order online, they fill your order, and I'll tell you what, they're going to pick out the best avocados, the best produce, the finest meats and cheeses from all the land. Only at your local Walmart store in their grocery section. These folks are highly trained professionals, and they're going to make sure that your satisfaction is number one. Again, Walmart, online grocery pickup, WOWFRESH. Enter the code WOWFRESH for $10 off your first order of online grocery pickup. Thanks, Walmart, and thanks for listening to Deconstructing Dallas. Back after this. Welcome back to Deconstructing Dallas. Ryan Trimble, Sean Williams, and Sean, we have a very special guest today. Joining us in studio, Mr. Doug Newby, one of the gurus of Dallas neighborhoods, one of the first people to write, handle zoning cases. I mean, Doug has done it all.
Preservation.
When it comes to Dallas neighborhoods, yeah.
Cities and neighborhoods, I think we got about as good a person as we can to talk on this topic.
That's right, and he is also the author of DallasArchitectureBlog.com. Go give that site a quick once-over or subscribe and like it on Facebook. Follow his blog. But, Doug, thanks for coming in.
You're welcome. This is a real treat, and I know that you understand Dallas and the evolution of Dallas, which has always been my passion. So this is really fun for me.
Well, Doug, I wanted to start. We can talk about specifically about the article that you've written about Trinity Groves, but I want to kind of get your thoughts on the evolution of Dallas as it relates to neighborhoods, as it relates to historic neighborhoods. And, I live in southern Dallas. I live in North Oak Cliff. I used to live in a kind of southwest Oak Cliff. And I see some changes as it relates to whether it be trails, whether it be transportation. And sometimes our city gets a bad rap. And Ryan also lives in Dallas. But what have you seen over time as it relates to how Dallas looks at neighborhoods?
Well, it's really interesting. About the same time I wrote the book Guide to Older Neighborhoods for the sesquicentennial in 1986, Stark Taylor tapped Eric Moyer to do a Southern Dallas Task Force. But all this was kind of coming together where for the first time we were identifying neighborhoods. And I've always said, until a neighborhood has a name and identity, nothing really happens. It doesn't matter if it has curbs or trees or there's been revitalization. You first have to have an identity. And that's when it started. Munger Place was the area that I started, was the most involved with the revitalization and the rezoning there. But what I've seen is now that we have several hundred identified neighborhoods and more neighborhoods getting identified every day. And then in southern Dallas, where there's been the greatest amount of interest, both with the media, homeowners, people, they're excited about it, but they still need to have something to get their hooks into. And we're just in the very early stages of that.
Very cool. Yeah, it's been fun. Having not grown up here, but have gotten here as fast as I could. It's been fun to see over the past, almost 2 decades, the neighborhoods come back and change. I went to SMU, as many of our listeners know, lived in East Dallas and Lakewood for a long time. Now have moved to Lake Highlands. One of the things I've noticed and have loved is seeing all the different sign toppers. Right. And when I worked for Chairman Branch, we would go and we would see, Vickery Place got their sign toppers, and Munger was among the first, and then the Peaks Edition and Swiss, and everybody has their sign toppers. So I think that kind of gets at the heart of what you're getting at is, we've got to have an identity and we've got to define our area.
And it was really interesting. Before there was, Lakewood, and then Lakewood West, which was everything to Central Expressway. And now you're right.
Right.
Every 5 and 10 block neighborhood now starts having an addition. And what we're now at the phase that not only are the neighborhoods getting an identity, but the connectivity of those neighborhoods and how they relate to each other. So you have this mosaic of neighborhoods where each one has a specific identity, but they're all part of the texture of Dallas, which is really nice.
Now, Doug, I want to move towards West Dallas, which is kind of what we're talking about today. And I want to go back because you've been intimately involved in kind of neighborhood and real estate and things like that. And can you talk about even maybe any memories you might have of when the Calatrava bridges were proposed and when they were designed and when they were built, and obviously people said that this was a bridge to nowhere, and kind of how that relates to where we are now in West Dallas and with the emergence of Trinity Groves. Kind of what are some of your memories about that time?
Well, I remember when they had a dinner with some of the early leaders and philanthropists. I think it was at Nancy Marcus's house, which is one of my favorite houses in Dallas at 6801 Turtle Creek in Boca Estates. I said, "Oh, that sounds like such an interesting dinner." And she goes, "You're glad you weren't invited because they hit everybody up for $100,000 for the planning of this bridge." I said, "You're right."
I love it.
And when you think in the Dallas Institute and Gail Thomas and the people involved, and where people were saying it's a bridge to nowhere, I go, this is what is going to make the difference. Because it's not only a symbol, but it's a physical structure that's a beacon to the other side of the river. And you just can't have 50% of the city with 10% of the tax base